She left her laptop half open. I read her plan to leave me and run off her affair. So I did this. Hi Redditors, I haven't felt this good in a while. I was finally done with that woman that wanted to bring me down and ruin me, and I had made sure she regretted ever dating to cross me. I've had a few days to get over my ordeal, but I just wanted to come on here and share my experience so the men reading this will be careful of the people they choose to trust and give access to their lives. I had trusted this woman. In fact, I had trusted her to the point that I got down on one knee to propose to her, and she had treated me like I was a dumb bat. She had treated me like she wanted to use me. No, scratch that, the witch had used me, but luckily I had caught on before she had the chance to finish me. If the witch had gotten away with the plans she wanted to use, I would have probably hung myself to die, because then what would be worth living for in my life again? Gosh, I should have seen the fucking signs. She had been behaving weird ever since I asked her to become my fiancé and we started planning our wedding. This was when I found out the true character of Michelle. I'm not keeping her name private because when the witch wanted to ruin my life, she had spared no expense. Meeting her had turned out to be the moment when I had made the worst mistake of my life. I couldn't believe that the girl I had met back then in college and had turned around to be the spiteful witch I knew now. I had done everything for that woman. You can think of me as Nate, not my real name, of course. I'm 30 years old and I had known Mitchell for about 5 years. She was rounding up college when we met, and I had been trying to start up something for myself. I was working in a new startup as their project developer. I was just trying to build before I could go after my real dreams. I had done everything for this girl. I had met her in our company when she had come to apply for a position, and we had told her there was no vacancy. She had been trying to look for a job and pay up her student loans, and I had been intrigued by how intelligent she sounded. You know, we don't see that most days in women, and especially blondes. I was so surprised by how she could hold a conversation that I had asked her on a date the next day. I had probably acted on the instinct of my tool and hadn't vetted her well, but from the little conversation we had, I loved how she communicated. I had been curious. That was how I got sucked in. Then before I could even say jack, I was paying her student loans and sorting out her needs while I was still trying to take care of myself. Michelle got out of college and said she wanted to grow her YouTube channel because she saw potential in it. I had been supportive, of course. Since she hadn't gotten a job, I was okay with her doing whatever. Mind you, I hadn't officially asked her to be my girlfriend. We were just very good friends, and I was thinking of popping the question soon. She started her channel and it grew, and she told me that her users were asking her for more content, and she wanted to venture into travel and tourism because of that. That was when I knew I had to tie her down. I asked her to be my girlfriend. I should have just seen her willingness to travel as a red flag. She had already told me she loved me, so how could someone that had said that want to start doing travel content? How ridiculous did that sound? I should have begun seeing the signs from here, I should have, but I had been oblivious because I thought that maybe I loved her. But that was a lie. I had thought she loved me too, so that was why I had envisioned a future with her. She accepted to be my girlfriend and she moved into my place. Well, partly because her roommate had left her and she couldn't afford rent on her own. We began living together and I had agreed to her creating her travel content. Well, she never ran it by me except that first time, but I hadn't said anything about it because she just traveled to locales around our city, and it was usually a one-day trip. I hadn't questioned it. I had been rational and she was making money for herself, although I never saw it. I still provided everything for her. I gave her money to get her hair and nails done. I even gave her money for her trips. Heck, I had bought all her content creation gadgets. I had been the poster card for an idiot. Then the traveling became a steady thing. I had asked her to take a major job on the side. A vacant had opened up in my office and I had made all the necessary preparations to get her to take the position. But no, Michelle wanted to travel. I guess this was where she had met her affair. And I had been looking out for her well-being while she was screwing someone else on the side. And then I had been even more stupid and asked her to be my fiancé. But I had done this after we had a serious fight over her traveling expeditions. She had begun booking flights to places with a flight time of over 6 hours and hadn't run it by me, and I was not okay with that. Well, she had apologized and I had forgiven because, you know, every relationship had their problems, and she had stopped her travel content and ventured into trying out restaurants. I had dated Michelle for over 2 years, and then I proposed to her a month after our major fight, and she had assured me that she loved me. I asked her to marry me then because I thought there would be no more problems. She had assured me that there'll be no more problems, and I had believed her. We started planning for our wedding together and our married life. I wanted to buy land and build our dream home for the children we were going to have, so I had opened a joint account. This was my second mistake. This was such a stupid move, and I don't know how much I had had my hair up in my ass to think that I could open a joint account with a woman. But you guys shouldn't blame me. I had trusted her. I had put my life savings and the money we were using to plan our wedding in the same account. I didn't want the stress of opening 2 bank accounts, so I had done that. You'll be wondering if I was the only person chipping in for the wedding plans in our dream house. She was dropping something too. Like in a month, she would put about $1,000 while I dumped my entire savings portion from the salary of that month into account. I had thought I was doing it for the person I loved. I wanted to have a good wedding. I wanted to afford at least the best in my standards, so I was chipping in all I had, not knowing I was about to be played for a fool. I didn't know the witch wanted to leave me and run away with her lover and take all my money. I wouldn't have known if I hadn't seen that chat on her laptop. Fortunately for me, she hadn't gotten away with it, though. I had jumped into action immediately I saw it. I had made her pay for even thinking of trying to double-cross me. Sometimes I wonder what might have happened if I wasn't there at the right time to go through her chats. I wonder if I'd have known that that was what she was plotting. I had gotten home from work terribly exhausted and had gone to the room to change. I got there and I found out that my fiancée of a year and almost 8 months was in the shower and had left her laptop on standby mode. I had just wanted to check the time and my phone was in the pocket of my pants, which was by the bed. I had just clicked it and immediately a message popped in. It read, "I can't wait until you're finally free of that dude and we can take all his money and start the life we deserve. Can't wait to see you this weekend." To say I was shocked was an understatement. I was shaken to my core. I had prided myself as a man that didn't show emotion and faced everything with a cutthroat approach. She was planning to leave me and take all my money with her. I will admit I had been stupid in the past. I had been stupid to trust her, and this was how she had leverage over me. When I had read the message over and over, I had tried to understand why. It wasn't as though I wasn't providing for her. I was. I gave her everything she ever asked for, as I'm sure you've read in the beginning of this story. I paid off her college loans, and this was how she had repaid me. I had noticed things started to get off immediately. I knelt down and asked her to marry me. It was like she no longer respected me or something. Then I had gone out of my way to open the joint account with her and told her how much she could use for the wedding and how much was for our land. I had close to $750,000 in that account, and I had handed it over to her, on a platter of trust. She had gotten me to trust her and then struck at the moment she had planned out, but by some fate of luck, my eyes had been opened to her schemes. My third mistake. I recall once when she was still doing her travel expeditions and my friend had told me my girl had been cheating on me, that she was traveling on trips that took over 3 days without me. He told me she definitely had someone on the side, or she was willing to cheat on me. So we had decided to test out his theory. This was what had made me trust her. She had passed the test. The plan was for my friend to meet her at the airport of whatever location she was heading to next and try to sway her into sleeping with him. My friend had charisma and could work his charm on a lot of ladies, and I had witnessed it firsthand, so I thought he was the perfect man to do the job. I had gotten her next travel itinerary and given it to him. He had met with her and had assured me that she had stayed away from him like he had herpes written over his forehead when he had tried to make small talk with her in the airplane. He had also assured me that throughout his stay he hadn't seen her, and the times he had bumped into her, she was trying out a restaurant or coming out of a gift shop, and both times she was alone. He had even showed me pictures. Everything had been so believable, but tough luck for me. This was how I had decided to trust her. I mean, she hadn't cheated on me, and the friend I had known since high school had attested to it. I didn't know of the facade behind that event. I had been oblivious once again. But it was because of this that I had decided to trust her and asked her to marry me and opened up a joint account with her. This has meant whatever was mine was hers. You all are free to bash me in the comments, I deserve it, but I don't think you all would understand how I felt seeing the message on that laptop. I had decided to investigate. They were to meet at a hotel during the weekend, so I waited till then to follow her. Unfortunately, she had gone anywhere during the weekend. It was like they had shifted their plans. I asked her if she didn't have anywhere to be that weekend. I was desperate to find out their plan. I was desperate to find out who the lover was behind the messages. The man had never met me before, so I was shocked that he could want my downfall like that. I wanted to know who the man was that was okay with being with someone who was already in a relationship. I wanted to meet the doofus who was so calm with taking money he didn't work for. When I had asked her, she had gotten irritated and began defending herself as to why I was asking questions like if she had something to do this weekend. She had asked if I had anything for her to do, so I had dropped it. But the curiosity had lingered. I had gone to the bank and found out that Michelle had moved over $300,000 from the account, and my heart had stopped. I had questioned the bank, and they said I had approved it. She had brought my signature and had even called me in front of them, and I had approved for her to transfer $300,000 to an untraceable account. The witch had told them the money went towards planning of the wedding, And since I had approved, they had went ahead with the transfer. They hadn't known I didn't approve it. This meant she had gotten her lover to act like me, and it had been believable to the bank people. She had even faked my signature so perfectly. I had been so ashamed of myself. I had locked the account immediately and had gone after Michelle, but I knew if I confronted her immediately, she might bolt. I needed to find out who and how she had began cheating on me. I called another friend that ran a PI agency and asked for his help. I wanted him to track my fiance's location and who she had been meeting with for the past 3 months. My friend told me he would get back to me in a day once he had all the information. I guess this was when Michelle, my fiancée, had probably sensed I had known something was up and she disappeared. She didn't come home that night. I had caught up to her shenanigans, and when I had called her, she had said she was spending time with her friend for the wedding planning. According to her, they had a lot to do the next day, and she couldn't come home and start leaving the next morning to her friend's place bright and early. I had kept quiet while she explained, and then I had asked her if she had taken money from the account, and she had quickly denied it, saying she was going to take money tomorrow, so she needed me to call the bank ahead so they could give her the go-ahead. She didn't know I was onto her already. I turned off the call and wished her good night. The next day, my friend had gotten back to me with pictures of my fiancé cuddling up to another man. The man was always on shades and face cap in all the pictures, like he couldn't be seen by the individual eye. He had gotten back to me with a name, Wallace, but I was sure that wasn't the man's real name. He had been with her in most of her travel expeditions. The one before, she had promised me it would stop. Then he was also with her after she had stopped traveling. The affair had been going on for 2 years. I was devastated, and she wanted to leave me clean and dry. My friend also got an information that they had booked a flight to Morocco and with no return ticket. This just sealed up the plan that they were running away with my money and were not going to return. The ticket was meant for a flight for that evening. I got angry. Then the witch had the audacity to call me and tell me that she needed to get some money from the account and they weren't granting her access. Then she started raising her voice, saying her money was in there too and I had no right to block it. I told her to meet me at the bank in an hour, and do you know what this woman says? That she had somewhere else to be. And she was busy planning our wedding, and here I was shutting her out. She was avoiding the talk and stalling with her anger. When she was done ranting, she cut the call. From the call, I could tell she was on the move, and I knew I had to be on the move too. I needed to find out who her lover was and get the FBI to come with me to the airport because I had a traitor to catch. And when I found out who her lover was, I had almost drawn blood. You recall when I said I had gotten my friend to go and test if my fiancé was cheating on me. Turned out she had cheated on me and my friend had lied to me. He had slept with her and had been sleeping with her. How had I gotten to know? The truth always finds its way out. My PI got the true identity of my fiancé's affair when I had been going to stop them from leaving with my money. I got to the airport and we stopped them boarding in, and I came face to face with my friend I had known since high school. He had wanted to run away with my soon-to-be wife and my money. The hatred he had for me had run that deep that he wanted to see me suffer. I got my wife arrested, and as it turned out, my friend was wanted for defrauding his company and was planning to run away with my wife and then lay low for a while. I would have never in a million years guessed that something like this would happen to me. It was so surreal, and even retelling it and reliving it still made it hard for me to believe. I charged my fiancé to court for forgery and fraud, and this woman had the audacity to act smart and sue me from withholding access to her funds. I mean, how stupid could one be? She never contributed anything to the account, and there was proof to show for it. Then she had tried to move my money without my permission and disappear to God's forsaken Africa. I won the case by a landslide, and she was made to transfer back the money and serve community service for 2 months and then pay a fine. She transferred only $250,000 and started paying me for the remaining $50,000. I wasn't satisfied with the court verdict, and she was still owing me $50,000. I never saw my friend. I doubt I could even call him a friend after all he had done. Again, ever. I was dealing with Michelle. I wanted to make her regret it. So I started from her friends. I told my PI friend to share the information of her deceit and infidelity to our social circle. But that wasn't enough. I needed her to be publicly humiliated. So I curated a YouTube video and then posted it from an anonymous account and told her followers how she had cheated on her relationship of 2 years and had tried to divert funds from a joint account, and then I posted a snippet on how she had been so unremorseful for it. She had told me when I had confronted her in court how she had built life with me for over 5 years, and she wanted to leave and deserved her fair share of my hard-earned money. Can you imagine that kind of audacity? Anyway, I had posted it on YouTube, and then I had gotten her logins from my PI friend and then posted it on her channel too. She had called me an hour later after I had posted the video and begged me to take it down. I had made sure all her YouTube followers reported her account before I took down the video on my end. I had gone on all her socials and posted her infidelity and then tagged her, and they were trolling her there too. I didn't want to be done with her, but then I had read some of the hate comments on her socials and I had stopped because the trolls would make her wish she had never been done. I made sure all our friends knew what she had done, so she was isolated from the friendship side too. I couldn't get to her family to make them isolate her, but I figured I had done enough. She had cheated on me for 2 years before I had asked her to be my fiancé, and then she thought she was entitled to my money? I'm sure she was definitely regretting crossing paths with me. I couldn't plan out my revenge on my friend because he had already been in jail, and I felt like that was punishment enough. I couldn't believe I had trusted these people. I had trusted them, and they had decided to play me right in the face. The funny thing had been her audacity to think she was entitled to my money just because she had been with me for 5 years, of which she had cheated on me for 3. Who the heck did women think they were? I'm glad I escaped from this ordeal without any much damage. I had learnt lessons and hardened the resolve in my heart. My ex-fiancée had given me the rest of the money when I had showed up at her parents' place. She had managed to keep her parents from knowing the backlash she was facing in the outside world. She had looked rough when I saw her, and it served her right. I was done feeling pity for people who didn't deserve it. I hope she would think twice before planning to dupe another man again. Redditors, never trust anyone but yourself. Trust only your gut, because at the need of the day, you're the only one who's on the lookout for you. Not your best friend, not the woman you plan on marrying, not even your parents. You would be used like a toy when they feel you're so easy to play. I hope you learn from my experience, LOL. I really hope you all do. No one is to be trusted.